Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Madison, and today I wanted to go over my first Aroid market import and just kind of show you how they're all doing, see what they're looking like now. It has been, I believe, 7 months since that import, and I believe it was my very first import. It was kind of a race between that one and the Equigenera. I'm not really sure which one got here first, I can't remember, but we will do a kind of reunion tour, if you will, of the very first Equigenera import that I did as well. That was only 2 plants, I think, but they were very, very exciting for me. One is doing great, one not so much. So we'll check on those ones later as well. But for this video, we're gonna focus on my very first Aroid market import. And yeah, let's just kind of get started and see what they're looking like. If you like this kind of stuff too, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you thumbs up this video if you enjoy it. So I'm not gonna go in any specific order. If I'm totally honest, I don't remember which order I went in when I was unboxing these plants. Like, how could I remember that? Let's be real. So I'm just gonna go with what's in front of me here. So let's start off with this little guy because I don't know. He doesn't look great. He's doing okay. Me and this plant have had a little bit of a journey. This is my Labisia species Real. Give you a little spin tour of her. She's definitely grown. We have lost some of the original leaves, of course. I'm going to say that for every single plant here. They have all had some acclimating to do in my home. It's also the middle of winter right now as well. I'm looking outside to a gray sky, which is rare for where I live in Colorado, and it is snowy. I think it's supposed to snow pretty soon here today, unfortunately. Good for the mountains, not good for me. But anywho, so yeah, these plants have all had some major acclimating to go through. So, and yeah, it's winter, so they're not gonna maybe look their best right now, but that's absolutely okay. I'm not here to fake you out. Let's just look at some real plants here. So yeah, this is the Labisia species Real. I have done a couple different things with this plant to try and just like try it to just try growing it in like different environments. It seems to really prefer a terrarium-like environment where the humidity is staying like damn near 100% almost all of the time, with some air outs here and there. And the soil or substrate that you have it in does like to stay fairly moist. At least that's what I have found. Although I do feel like I rotted some of the roots here. I did just recently repot this. I did have it completely in sphagnum, and I moved it to a like really chunky soil mixture with just like a regular basic soil, some chunky orchid bark, and some chunky pieces of perlite as well. So hopefully it'll like it. I literally just repotted it like yesterday or the day before. Oh, I'm sorry, you might be able to hear my stomach. But yeah, I did try it outside of the terrarium-like environment, which it did not like at all. I was just hoping to get it some higher light and just see how it would do in my grow tent that I have next to me here, because it stays at around 80% humidity, so it is pretty high in there, but he just did not seem to like it. The leaves felt super thin. The color didn't look quite right. Granted, I don't know if the color looks quite right now. Well, I guess it does. It looks pretty. We are having some kind of weird, can you see that here? Where is it? Some weird like kind of burning or something right here. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. That is the newest leaf, so that's kind of a bummer. But it looks like it is slowly, you might be able to see right at the tip there, it's slowly kind of working on a new growth point right there. Or a new leaf rather. It's not a new growth point, just a new leaf. It just kind of grows up in like a stick here. It kind of reminds me of like an Aglaonema pictum tricolor, the way that it grows. But I really enjoy this plant. It's so beautiful. It's still one of my boyfriend's favorite plants, I think. Definitely one of my top favorite, not like my favorite, that's for sure, but I do love looking at her. And I feel like once we start getting into spring and summer and he gets that light that he wants, along with that really good humidity, he'll really start to perk up a little bit more, because yeah, he's just really not been doing much over the last like 2 or 3 months. But the first like 4 that I had him, he was doing fantastic. So I would say this is a fairly easy plant to grow as long as you're able to like give it the conditions that it wants. My only kind of qualm so far with this plant, I feel like that's such a strange word, but yeah, my only real issue with this plant, not really an issue, it's just like, why do you do this? Is that it grows, as you can see, so like face down, where I see other people's plants, like Harley G has a few of these gorgeous plants where they grow more like kind of like flat out, you know, and kind of splayed out and not so flattened. So I'm not really sure why this is doing that. If you have any ideas, definitely let me know. But yeah, I would say for having it for 7 months, it's doing pretty darn well. We're still kind of getting to know each other here, but I feel like I am figuring it out. So yeah, hopefully come spring and summer, I'll be able to give you a really good update on this guy. But yeah, Labisia species real. Let's see, I'm gonna grab this guy so I don't forget about him. He's kind of further away. So this next plant you and I have done some work with already, so it's definitely not a stranger plant to you. I mean, none of these should really be stranger plants to you, but this leaf looks so sad, but that's okay. So this is my Philodendron Splendid. This is a cross between a Philodendron verrucosum and Philodendron melanochrysum, I think. And yeah, so this guy was growing super, super lanky. This guy is a fast grower. He's not doing anything super fast right now because he's kind of working out his root situation in here, but he was doing fantastic. He was growing like a weed. He just straight up a plank. Like I couldn't keep up with how fast he was growing. I feel like I heard Becca de la Plante say something like that recently about her Splendid as well. Granted, hers looks much better than mine does right now. Something to aspire to, right? But yeah, he was just growing so crazy tall. And then I didn't have like a tall enough support to give him. And I really just didn't want him to keep growing so tall and just like in a straight single vine. I wanted him to be a little bit more bushy, so I decided to chop him up. And I was also having issues with spider mites as well and thrips. I think he's just been kind of getting the whole gambit of pests here. He is doing much, much better. He's been getting sprayed fairly regularly and is doing much better pest-wise. And like I said, he is acclimating to his new home here. So yeah, we chopped up this plant together. I will link that video up here somewhere. I think it's up here. It might be over here, but I think it's up here. But yeah, I'll link that up there for you somewhere so that you can check out that video if you're interested. But yeah, you can hopefully see here. We do have some roots happening. So he is growing in there. He's definitely growing. Are there roots along the bottom? I can't see any roots along the bottom, but yeah. Oh, you can see some good ones right there. Hopefully that'll focus a little bit for you. But yeah, he's doing really, really well. All in all, I'd say the Splendid is a really easy care plant. It's a philodendron, and not only is it a philodendron, but it's a hybrid. I feel like these plants it's a hybrid of the verrucosum and, oh gosh, why do I keep forgetting? I have one, the melanochrysum. I feel like those two plants individually are, I've heard, to be much trickier plants. I have a really small melanochrysum and yeah, she's kind of picky. But it seems like the hybrid of the two is significantly easier, and wow, is it beautiful. Like, look at the back of that leaf. Isn't that so pretty? Like, oh, and I know she's not looking her best. You know, I'm not going to blame winter. She's just not looking her best, but it's still such a beautiful, beautiful plant. And I really recommend it. So yeah, I feel like for 7 months, we've got all of these leaves here. It did lose some of the original leaves, of course, that came with it. Like I said, I'm gonna be saying that for every single plant, but I'm really, really happy with how this is doing. And you can see there's like a new little shoot right there. We had like a little pseudo leaf pop out right here. Hopefully it's focusing there. And now it's working on an actual leaf. So sometimes when you take a cutting, it'll push out, like that first leaf that it'll push out will be kind of a pseudo leaf. I don't know if that's a technical term. I have heard other people say it before or use it in this way, but it's kind of like a little half leaf or like a little mini leaf that doesn't like form completely. And then after that, it'll usually get its act together and start pushing out like real leaves for you. But yeah, I love this guy. Absolutely beautiful. I won't yap on too much longer. We'll keep it at that. Now, this is our next plant here. This one, I feel like looks so silly with this really tall piece of wood, but whatever, it's what we're working with. I think it's cute. So this is a Philodendron Florida Ghost. Another one so kindly sent to me by Aroid Market. I will, of course, link Aroid Market. They're like Instagram and their website down below for you guys so that you can check them out. I really enjoy working with them. I will 100% be ordering again from them in the future, probably like spring, summertime. I'll be getting another order from them, I'm sure of it. But yeah, this is the Philodendron Florida Ghost, and it's called that because the new leaves come out nice and white. So this leaf has already been out for, I want to say, a couple weeks now. It was stark, not stark white, but like a really bright, like kind of creamy white when it first came out. And you can see it's working on another leaf right here. Hopefully you can see that there. And that one, it looks like it's going to be nice and white as well. I will say it's taken a little bit of kind of figuring out what the best light situation is for this guy to be able to produce those white leaves upon, you know, emergence. So I had it in my bedroom for a while, and it was getting like pretty bright early morning sunlight, but that early morning sunlight doesn't last for nearly as long as the afternoon sunlight does on the opposite side of the house. So when I had it in my bedroom, getting it just those like couple hours of pretty bright, but just a couple hours of early morning sunlight, the leaves that it was pushing out would come out just kind of green, kind of like this one. Would come out just kind of like that, and then slowly fade to green, and then just kind of like die off. He wasn't super happy in there, and I feel like I also had him in a pot that was a little bit too large. So I downsized the pot, which we're gonna come across me doing that again here shortly. But I downsized the pot to this guy here. I kept the roots also like towards the top of the pot. That way the roots weren't getting super soggy down below. And I moved him into my plant room here, which, like I said, is on the opposite side of the house. It gets like super, super bright, pretty harsh and hot afternoon and evening sunlight. And that has what's given me, that's so weird. But yeah, and that's what's given me this really nice creamy white leaf that will eventually fade to the darker green. Where am I? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This one here. But yeah, it's such a beautiful plant. Again, we did have struggles with spider mites. It's just like a thing in this house. I'm blaming this house. I don't know. And apparently thrips are just like a common issue in my area. I was talking to one of the guys at the grow stores that we go to, and he was saying that thrips are like native to this area. So it's just a thing that we're gonna have to deal with if we live in Colorado. So no big deal as long as we know about it, right? But yeah, he was dealing with some weird pest issues, as you can kind of see by like, I guess all the weird shaped leaves have left us. But I guess this leaf is kind of a good example of that, where it's just kind of like deformed up here. That's a sign that there is pest damage on the plant. And now you can see he's coming out much more regular. He's still a little wonky over here, like he's not matching on either side, but he's looking much better. And I love the petioles on this plant. Can you see how bumpy that is? I don't remember if it was, I think it was this plant where when I got it, I was like,
the petioles are bumpy.
Like, I don't remember anyone ever saying that about this plant, but it's just so cool. Look at that. And I feel like despite, you know, after you figure out like where to put it to get the nice white emergent leaves, he's a really easy care plant because it's a philodendron. You know what I mean? Like, he's easy. As long as you make sure you're managing for pests, he's gonna be fine. So yeah, Philodendron Florida Ghost. Again, obviously it's lost some of its older leaves. That's why it's not so bushy. But again, I mean, for 7 months, I feel like that's not too bad. It's gone through its acclimation period and it has figured out where it wants to live, and he's chilling. So yeah, Philodendron Florida Ghost. Put my Labisia species Rio back in his home so he's not outside of the humidity for too long. I guess I'll just show you too where I've got him. He lives in here. You probably can't see him. Let me switch him over. He's got less condensation on this side. There he is. And he's in there with the little pink princess. So they just hang out together. Let's do this guy over to the other side of me here just so I don't forget him. So this one is another that's a little, I feel like these are all kind of worse for wear right now. Don't judge me, you guys. Judgment-free zone, eh? But this is the, I almost called it philodendron. No, this is a crystallinum silver blush. I believe it is some type of like, excuse me, it's an Anthurium silver blush, but I believe it is a type of crystallinum hybrid. There we go. So yeah, he's, as you can see, he's looking a little worse for wear. We did have issues with thrips on this plant. I have, I believe, gotten them all taken care of. I haven't seen any pests on this guy in a while. But he was also using a ton of his energy recently because this is the plant that gave me all of my Anthurium berries and seeds. Ooh. So it makes total sense to me that he, the rest of him looks a little bit depleted. But since putting out those berries, right as like the berries were finishing ripening, it started working on this new leaf here, and at the same time working on another inflorescence, which is super exciting because I have another crystallinum that has also pushed out at the same time a new leaf it's working on, and it's also working on an inflorescence, and it's a little bit further behind this one, so I feel like the timing should work out pretty perfect for me to try and cross these plants. Ooh, it would be so cool. I just feel like I created a monster, honestly, with myself, and like realizing that I can actually successfully pollinate Anthurium seeds. Like, what? Or Anthurium flowers and make seeds? So cool. So cool. So yeah, I'm gonna try not to wiggle this guy around too terribly much, but like I said, he is looking a little bit depleted because he gave me all of those berries, which I will show you those in a video fairly soon. I'm not gonna make any promises here as like how soon it's gonna be, because I do want, I want at least a handful of the seedlings to have like 2 leaves. I do have 2 of the seeds of like the very first couple berries that I popped. 2 of those do have a single leaf already, which is super exciting, but I just want them to be a little bit more mature before I like start filming or like really putting together a video for you guys on like that whole process of pollinating the Anthurium seeds or Anthurium flowers. Wow, I cannot talk. But yeah, this guy has just done so well for me. I'm so happy with it, despite how these older leaves look. I mean, just look at that new leaf right there. How beautiful is that? And yeah, the fact that it's giving me another inflorescence to try again to pollinate with a different Anthurium is just so cool. I'm really excited. I hope I can do it again and make even more little Anthurium babies. Oh, that would just kill me. Okay, let me stop gabbing about this, but let me show you that new leaf one more time because it is so pretty. Let me see if I can show you the back of it too, because it's really pretty. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, Anthurium Silver Blush. Ugh, love it. Even though you look so sad right now. Let's do this guy. Hiya. So, this plant, let me show him to you. Look at how cool he is. This is an Amidrium silver. I don't know if it's like an Amidrium medium silver or just Amidrium silver, but we're just gonna stick with Amidrium silver and keep it simple, you know what I mean? But he has done pretty darn well. As you can see, we've got some good leaf action here. However, this sucker loves to put out runners like freaking crazy. I feel like it's just an Amidrium thing because I have experienced that with my other Amidrium, my Amidrium zipolaminum or something like that. It's putting off runners right now as well because I didn't keep it tied up well enough to the plank. So that's what's happening here with this long doodad. You can see he's got some aerial roots. They were looking for a home here, but he like kind of clamped himself onto another plant in my grow tent. That's where I keep him, is in my my grow tent here. So he clamped onto something successfully enough to be able to pop out like a little leaf. So hopefully you can see there's a little tiny leaf there. It's such a cool plant despite needing to like really be on it so that you don't get a runner. It's such a freaking cool plant. Like I just dig it. It's got such like a Jurassic Park kind of a look to it. Like look at that leaf. Like what the heck? That is just so weird looking. I just dig it. It's so cool. Look at that. And yeah, since putting him in my greenhouse, I did have him just in my bedroom previously for quite a while before I like figured out that like maybe we'll just move him in there. He seemed so much happier since I moved him into the green tent, grow house, green tent, whatever. Yeah, let me show you if I can all these aerial roots on the back and how they're like all trying to attach here and go all crazy. But yeah, I am gonna chop this guy up pretty soon so that I can like put the runner nodes into a prop box and keep this guy looking like a pretty little bushy plant. I'm not going to chop off all of them because I do have a lot of runners like midway through, and then I like figured out what was happening and then got them reattached, and then they started pushing out leaves. So I don't know how crazy I'm going to get with the chopping when I eventually do chop him, but I just want him to keep being cute and bushy like he is down here. I just dig it. I do feel like despite, like I said, despite having like to watch out for runners, it is a really, really easy plant to care for because it does just want to grow. It seems really, really forgiving with underwatering or overwatering. I would definitely say to underwater rather than overwater if you can, but I mean, I've done both and it's been totally fine either way. So yeah, Amidrium silver. I won't go on any longer about him because I feel like he's pretty self-explanatory, but it's just a cool plant. Just a cool plant. I feel like you might need one. I don't know. I feel like you might. Let me get this other little guy out of the way, and then our last two plants are gonna be the big boys. Okay. Can I show this to you without spilling on myself? Maybe. Okay. Now, when you see the before of this plant, you're gonna be like, wow, this looks really, really sad. Because this plant had many more leaves to start with it than it does right now. But it also has more than no leaves, which is more than it had previously also. So we're doing okay. So this is the Anthurium papillaminum cross magnificum verde. It's so gorgeous. All right, so this plant and I have been on quite the life journey together, if you will. This is the plant that you guys saved for me because you told me to wrap the base chunk at the top of the soil in sphagnum moss and then wrap that in some like cling wrap or cellophane or whatever to keep it nice and moist. And then he started pushing out a bunch of roots from over here, and then he started growing a leaf again. Now, I will say, he started growing a leaf because he died off. He killed off all of his leaves, right? There was no major pest that I could see, nothing like that. He was just really having a tough time getting acclimated to my space. So he dropped all of his leaves slowly but surely. He was like hanging on to like his last beautiful leaf for quite a while, and it just eventually died off, and it was really, really sad. And then this guy was a stump for a while. I didn't want to toss him. He still looked okay. The roots looked okay, but he was a stump. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture for you of that stump because man, was it sad. But he grew back a leaf, not this leaf, not this one. He started growing a leaf. It was about half this size. And then the color started getting really, really odd. It started getting kind of like red along the edges and then kind of lost color in between there and then was like a dark, dark green in the center. It started curling in on itself. It did not look good. And then the whole thing just like fell off and it was done. So I was once again back to a stump, but he recently started pushing out this leaf. I do feel like this is almost hardened off. So it's a pretty small leaf compared to the ones that we had previously, but it's a start and it's a leaf. So yeah, this is the new leaf here. Let's see if I can get nice and close up for you. It is just beautiful. Oh, so gorgeous. Oh my goodness. So yeah, definitely I would say a trickier Anthurium, at least for me. I'm not really sure why. You hear my dog itching outside there. I'm not really sure why this one has been a little bit more tricky for me to grow, but I mean, it's growing, so I think it's okay. I feel like this little spike right here eventually will be a new growth point. I'm not really sure, but I do see, you know, some good, let me show you here. There's like some good chunky root growth happening there. I could probably put a little bit more sphagnum around this guy, maybe give him some fresh sphagnum. But yeah, he's still looking really, really happy root-wise. He's a little bit wet in here. I'm gonna pour out this extra water. I will say you don't want to let this guy get too dry and you don't want to let him have soggy feet for too long. So I would just not let him get 100% dried out before you water him, just to keep a closer eye on that. I think that's also kind of what I was doing, was letting him get way too dry in between waterings. So just keep up on that. And I think that's kind of the trick for this guy. I have been keeping him in my Ikea greenhouse cabinet, and that's where he pushed out this leaf for me. That is also where he pushed out that other leaf that died. So, you know, what does that tell you? I don't know. But yeah, he is seeming really happy now that he's just been chilling in the same environment for a while in the Ikea greenhouse cabinet. And yeah, there's a dog hair on there, but it's so beautiful. I just love the shape. The shape is so elegant. The next plant, you may have been able to see a little bit of him next to me here the whole time. This plant, I'm gonna tell you right away, this is not for everybody, but I love him. He's so wonky. I don't even know how to like show him to you properly. He's such a wonky dude. This is my Philodendron Paraiso verde. Let's see if I set him down right in front of me. Can you see him kind of? No. So yeah, this is my Paraiso verde. He is one wonky dude. Before I put him in my grow tent, he was extra wonky. Like, look at that. I don't even know how to show that. Am I even showing you? I don't know. But look at how wonky. He's like way out here. He's way down here. He's over here. Like, he's so weird. It's just the weirdest plant. And the aerial roots are freaking wild. Do you see all those? Those are all aerial roots. All of these. Oh, all of this here. The roots are popping out the bottom like crazy. Like, this is a wild growing plant. And I love it. It's so weird. Okay, I love you. So yeah, like I said, definitely not for everyone, but I think this plant is so cool. And I am working on trying to get better variegation happening here. Like I said, I have this guy in my grow tent. I did not previously. I finally realized, like many of the plants that I put in there, that he might be happier in there. And sure enough, he's definitely happier in there. He started growing like crazy. The leaves stopped growing so wild. Like the petioles aren't so crazy long. They're much more, you know, closer to the plant, which I really appreciate. But we haven't gotten too much crazy good variegation quite yet. It's still just like very lightly mottled, which is absolutely fine. And once again, we're still in winter, but it is in my grow tent. So I don't know. I just have some figuring out to do still, but he is definitely, you know, he had some acclimating to do when he got to my house, which is totally fine. We definitely lost some of the like oldest leaves, but I mean, he's just crazy. Look at him. One day I might chop him, but I just can't bring myself to do it right now. I love the way he looks in the grow tent, like mingling with my syngonium, just like my podophyllum, my regular green syngonium. He's just been like growing together. Their roots were all intermingled. It was really hard to even get this plant out of the grow tent because he was just so up in there with so many other plants. He's also mixed in with the one of my Hoya, my macrophylla. He's just all up in it with all the other plants. He's a little party plant, but he's so cool. So yeah, he's definitely grown quite a bit. He likes to grow and grow and grow. You're not gonna stop him, that's for freaking sure. And yeah, I do think that part of my issues too, with not having very good variegation for this plant, can you even like see me here, is that I was giving him CalMag Plus, which I thought that was like a major spider web, but it's just the leaf rolled over. Okay, we're good. But yeah, I was giving him CalMag Plus, which apparently is not great for variegated plants because it promotes like good, happy green growth, but it's not going to promote variegated growth. So I have since stopped giving him CalMag for the past like 3 or 4 waterings, I would say. I've just been giving him the other nutrients that I've been using, or just no nutrients at all, and just giving him plain old tap water. And yeah, I do feel like, where can I show you? On this newest leaf, it's really hard to tell because it is the newer leaf, so it's not like fully hardened off yet, but we do have a little bit more variegation, I feel like, with this leaf. I might be crazy, but I feel like there's a little bit more. So yeah, hopefully soon enough I'll be able to get some better variegated growth with this guy. And I am also gonna have to move him in my grow tent too, because as he is now sitting on like my lower shelf, the new leaf is almost touching the light. So I'm gonna have to scooch him like onto the ground in my grow tent or something like that. But yeah, let me know if you guys wanna see a video like that going through and reorganizing my grow tent, because it needs it. It really needs it. So I could definitely take you guys along with me. So let me know if you want to see that. But yeah, Philodendron Paraiso verde, easy growing plant. Not the easiest to keep variegation, but other than that, super easy going plant. Like, oh my God, so cool. Give it highlight though, highlight and warmth. I would say highlight more so to keep the petioles from getting too crazy out of control. And then the warmth, I've heard, is going to help promote higher variegation. So make sure you have plenty of highlight and plenty of warmth for your Paraiso verde, and you should be okay. Let me know what you guys think of that plant and if you guys have it. You be careful. You be careful. Come here. Come here. Hi. 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 I love you. Yes, I love you. I know. Daddy went to the store. He'll be right back. Daddy will be right back. I promise. Can I have a kiss? Can I have a kiss? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. You better go get your sissy. Oof. Okay. We didn't knock anything over. That was good. Okay, so you're a good boy over there, dude. Let me grab the last plant to show you guys. So I mentioned that I did a thing where I put a plant. Hey, shut up. Where I put a plant in a pot that was too big. You guys told me to. You told me when I potted this. That's a little big. That pot's a little big for that plant. You might not want to do that. You were right. You were totally right. I was totally wrong. This was just like the pot that I had, and I was just like working with it. Yeah. He hasn't liked it. He's not like hated it, but he hasn't liked it. Let me show you the plant we're talking about. This is my gorgeous, ginormous, well, not ginormous, but to me he's ginormous, Philodendron billietiae with these super awesome orange carroty petioles. Yeah, he was doing so well. Okay, well, he was doing well up into a point. He was in the same size pot as this guy, as the paraiso verde. You see, he was in this size pot. And the roots were going all crazy. He was putting out like a smaller leaf. Like the last leaf he had put out was, you're dusty, dude. The last leaf that he had put out was smaller. The last two leaves I think that he had put out were smaller than the previous leaves. So that was telling me, uh-oh, this guy's ready for a repot, right? So I put him in this pot. It's too big. I'm gonna try not to hit my microphone, but yeah, this pot's too big. So that was my bad. I should not have potted him in a pot so large. So since I put him in this pot, oh my God, he has a freaking, like an actual spider web on it. But yeah, since I put him in this pot, I better be careful and don't snap him. He has only put out one leaf, or no, I don't think he's put out a single leaf. He's put out no leaves since I put him in this pot. So after this video, I am gonna be, there's another actual spider web on here. Oh my God. That's so bad. But yeah, after I film this video, I am going to repot him into a smaller pot. I found like a 2-gallon jug or a 1-gallon pot or something like that to put this guy into. So it's still bigger than the pot that he came from, that he was like busting out of, but it'll be not so freaking large. And then I also need to support him because he feels very janky down here. But let me see if I can turn him around so I can show you these other beautiful leaves here. And look at him. He's definitely grown. Okay, let's be clear. Before I put him in this pot that's too freaking huge, he was growing beautifully, popping out leaf after leaf after leaf. It seemed like he didn't even have an acclimation period to my home. He like really didn't. He has all of the original leaves that he came with, which is freaking wild to me. Like, let's see if I can hold him. Do you see this little baby leaf right here? And this little guy? There's like another little guy over here. He came with those leaves. He came with all of those leaves and then just popped out like 5 to 7 more. A ton. He popped out a lot. Four to, I don't know. He popped out a lot more leaves. And I'm just like kind of in awe of this plant because he's a trooper. He's a freaking super trooper. Even being in this like really shitty pot that, let's be honest, none of my plants like these pots. I'm getting rid of all of them. That's like my next project, is to just like get rid of or repot any plants that are in these pots and just get rid of them. I'm just gonna give them away because like, I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I'm so sorry, Target, if you're listening to this, which I know you're not, but these pots suck. They're not self-watering. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I tried doing like the yarn thing and like having that go down to like the drip tray through the soil. That didn't work either. That was just gross. I've tried not popping the tray off of the bottom at all. I've tried popping it off and then popping it back on or leaving it on there lightly. nothing works to actually make this to be a self-watering pot. The water just like sits in the bottom saucer and that is it. And then you have to like pour out a bunch of nasty water before you water it again. Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. So now that I'm done ranting about these terrible pots, the Philodendron billietiae is an incredible plant. It's, like I said, it's a freaking super trooper. It just wants to grow. He's easy. If you're looking for a rare plant that is like a super cool, super jungly, beautiful look to it, you need a Philodendron billietiae, you guys. You just do. He's so cool. And buy one small, because shit, it'll grow. Like, it'll grow no problem for you. So buy a small one. Don't worry about spending a ton of money and getting like a giant billy. Just get a little baby billy, and he'll grow for you, no problem. Just do it. Just do it. You want one. You should get one. Treat yourself. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't mean to be so pushy, but it's just a plant that I feel like if you love plants, you need this plant. Like, it's so cool. Ah. So yeah, I'm gonna repot him after this. Like literally right after this, I'm gonna repot him. I'm gonna upload this footage onto my computer. I'm not gonna film that. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna repot him and get him into a better home, give him a little bit of support so that he doesn't freaking snap, because he kind of feels like he might. He's just like so top heavy. Do you see? Do you see what I'm talking about there? You can't see that. Can you see that there? He's just so wobbly. So yeah, I'm getting so off track here. 7-month update on this Philodendron billietiae is fantastic. If I wouldn't have repotted him into such a giant pot, if I would have just pot him into like a reasonably sized larger pot, I feel like he would have like 3 or 4 more leaves now than he does. Does that make sense? But yeah, I'm so happy with this plant. I need some food. It's morning time. Is it? I feel like it is. The snow is supposed to start at around 11. It's just starting to snow out there right now. There's like some frillies happening. Frillies? Flurries. There's some flurries happening out there right now. So I feel like it's got to be around 10:30, 11. So I need to make myself some brunch or something. But yeah, get yourself a Philodendron billietiae. I'm going to get myself some brunch or whatever. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you again to Aroid Market for sending me this freaking incredible import 7 months ago when I had like pretty much just started my channel, like very recently. Did not have very many subscribers at all. Not like I, have a ton now, but it's just a really new plant channel, and it was just really cool of them to kind of take like the risk, I guess, to offer to send me plants free of charge. And I just really appreciate it. I really, really love all these plants. I feel like I don't know, they just bring me so much joy to watch them grow. And I hope to be able to like take cuttings and stuff eventually later on once they're more grown and be able to share them with people too. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys. I will see you in the next video. Could I be any more all over the place? I don't think so. I'm freaking hungry.